What's up, guys? It's Pompey, No Coast original, narcoleptic art collector. Mike's in the shot, whether you like it or not. And happy Thanksgiving, everyone. This year, the No Coast Rap Battle League is thankful for 1 million views on YouTube collectively across over 100 battle videos. And myself, as well as several other members of the staff, have been asked to compile our top 5 from all of those battles and present them. So this is my take on that. This was really hard. So many of them are good. I'm not going to pretend they're all good, but many were. I'm going to talk probably for way too long in order to present my top 5 favorites, but guess what? You're watching my list, so that's what you signed up for. I'll tell you a little bit about my methodology. That's right. This is going to have a methodology section. I've got a list of all the what I consider the essential No Coast battles. That's a greater list of my favorites, which I updated for this, and there are 29 on it now, sort of scattered throughout the history. And I wanted to make sure my top 5 included as many of the people who had like repeats on that list as possible. Another thing I decided was that I was going to have it be battles between no coasters, both people in the battle, or all 4 if it was a 2-on-2, but I didn't happen to pick any of our 2-on-2s. Must have more than one battle with us. So this takes out a lot of great battles that I would give honorable mention, but other people are going to cover them because they're just obviously some of the best we've had. XQZ versus Wise Guy, Madness versus Mudslinger, Thesaurus versus Sid Vicious, T-Rex versus G-Soldier. None of them are on my list because they contain at least one person who only visited us once. Another arbitrary rule I threw in was that there were no chokes, and that's just me pushing my agenda. If you want to make the list next time when we get 2 million, then just have a good battle where you don't choke. It's not that hard, guys. That out of the way, number 5, Heebs versus Old Man. Brought to you by Leatherby's Autumnal Gin and Jack Rudy Tonic, the Gin and Tonic Crew pick of the week. And this is apparently batch number 92. So, battle number 5, Heebs versus Old Man. This is from 2011, the Summer Meltdown event at Berlin Theater. Now, I know that's going to be a surprising pick to a lot of people, maybe, but hear me out on this. Old Man, he was kind of a mysterious character. Showed up in mid-era No Coast, calling out the champ of the league at the time, deadBeat. One thing you probably shouldn't do for your first battle is challenge the champion of a league and then put money on it. But he chose to do that, and I guess we let him. We figured, well, we're probably never going to see him again because he just did his first battle, kind of got embarrassed and lost money. To his credit, he came back, and he came back a lot better, too. His second battle was Megadeth, one of Megadeth's very early battles. I think it, A, was an incorrect decision, and B, it may have even been miscounted. Megadeth was older than Old Man, so there was some sort of misunderstanding. So anyway, already Old Man's getting the shaft once again, in my opinion. Again, he came back. Old Man came back even harder this time. Battled RCX. Came back again. Still pretty strong. Faced UGZ. And possibly got jerked on that one. But anyway, this is all to build up the fact that Old Man is just sort of continuously getting screwed over throughout, and he just keeps coming back hungry. And basically, Old Man versus Heebs is the one where he comes hard. His opponent does pretty well too, and but he just legitimately takes the win, and the judges did go for him as well. I'm not saying Heebs did badly by any means. The underdog effect took hold, I think. Heebs came out like, oh, yeah, sure, I'll kill some guy, whatever. Came with lots of sort of generic material. It was kind of part of the angle he was building up, is like, I don't even have to try for this guy. I'm just here to hang out with my friends, whatever. But, he's still clearly trying, boring out a lot. You should check it out. It's a really interesting, quirky, very no-coast battle.
And when the crowd's loud during his round being awfully rude, and Einstein's like, shut the fuck up! He's talking to you. This person came to murder lanes. I'll get the crowd to act crazy like I'm their attorney in a murder case. So, she a little young, but her booty fast, so I had to super splash hose like the Hoover Dam broke. I ain't trying to bite that hubris cat, though. Me and everyone at XQZ frat super smash, bro. I don't slow dance or hold hands with your whole ass sister. No romance, I'm talking coke cans and liquor. Bury you in my homeland in a snow pass shivering. Cold air wither, call him Old Man Winter.
Cold and withered, call him Old Man Winter. Heebs is from Alaska, you see. That's an Alaska bar. There's a lot of those in this one.
I'll take the AK out of your state's name.
Yeah. Now, Old Man, as I said, he was very hungry in this one. I really liked all the original themes and punchlines he brought into this. It was clear he had seen some battles, but mostly he was just really clever. That was always his sort of strength and weakness, because he didn't seem to have a huge awareness about what's been said in like battle leagues in general. But a lot of it he figured out on his own, and some of it went kind of a different direction. I really like what he said in the beginning. He addresses the no-coast history that he has a lot better than I did just before.
To answer someone's question, and I hope you're listening, why I keep coming back when I had a bad beginning. Been jerked off by the judges, only had one winning, but whether I win or get jerked off, either way it's a happy ending. You should be happy it's me that you're battling, because it's easy to beat me. You don't need better bars. Megadeth and UGZ both know it isn't hard. Just fuck up in 2 rounds and recycle some bars.
Yeah! Whether I win or get jerked off, it's still a happy ending. Like, that's a nice massage humor there. I've written down here, let's see, sure, you're heavy and porky, but most importantly...
Sure, you're heavy and portly, but most importantly, you're such a pussy when you're alone masturbating in your bed when horny, it's technically considered a whole lesbian orgy.
That's a really good bar. Let's see, he had a whole crazy... A
John Doe in the corner, Jack Horner, whose brains sorted not in the same order like stray quarters were sorted in a change sorter, rolled, loaded in a chamber, and aimed at your aorta. Oh!
Aim for your aorta. That was really hard. Came really, really hard. And then, like later in the battle, he came with this whole big winter snowscape scheme that was really, you know, some people probably thought it was really cheesy, but it also everyone remembered it.
You snow what? He's not a dope flower. He was a snow blower.
He's not a dope flower. He's a snow blower. My favorite from that is when he said,
"You put us all a ski because you're snowboarding." There are signs at your shows that say no snoring.
In case you don't follow what he was implying, you put us all asleep because you're so boring. But he didn't say it twice. He just said it. He just said you put us all asleep because you're snowboarding. That's not even like a slow it down. It's just like a blatant force fit. I don't know really how to even describe it, but it may sound cheesy to you, but that day later, people were quoting it. You know, Snowman bar, something you got to deal with. I wanted to give Old Man some shine because he had a lot of great performances, and based on him legitimately beating Anoko's favorite Heebs at that point, then he went on to get some really great opponents. Hey, Old Man, if you see this, we'd love to have you back. You did some really good stuff, and I to this day, you beat Analyrical. That was another, like, almost every jerking in No-Coast history has happened to occur to Old Man. I think it's really unfortunate. That was number 5, Heebs versus Old Man.
Google that shit.
Number 4 is brought to you by Plantation Grand Reserve, and that is a 5-year Barbados rum. Mr. Biscuit versus Maniphest DestNE.
How you doing? Nice to meet you.
All right. Now, this occurred at Valentine's Day Massacre 1, the first Valentine's Day Massacre. Not the first Valentine's Day, but the first. 2011 in the Berlin Theater again. Some of our best lighted footage was in that room. Mr. Biscuit at that time was about 6 deep in a winning streak, and it later became, I believe, the longest winning streak in battle rap history across maybe 4 different leagues. If you sum it all together, as many people did, at the moment, I believe he's 13-1. And the streak's not been broken. I think his loss was his first battle or something. This was smack in the middle of that winning streak. If someone else knows of someone that's, you know, gone like 20-2 or something, let me know. But I think the winningest battle rapper in terms of a continuous streak that we've ever seen, probably that we ever will see, because we're in a post-judging era right now. Very few battles are judged. In fact, some of Biscuit's would-be losses were promo battles. Like a little bit before this, I think he battled Fresco, and that, was a promo battle, so what are you going to do? Anyways, we see here just, Mr. Biscuit in his prime, in his A game. What he had always was just an avalanche of punchlines.
Said you about to battle Little Rob, dog. You ready? He said palms are sweaty, knees weak, arms are...
Quotables just back to back to back, landing everything, getting the crowd with everything. Simple but effective. Lots of 2-bar buildups. Nothing that intricate. It maybe doesn't even age that well, but this was 2011, and that's how you won back then. He mastered it like no one else. Then Maniphest DestNE, very nice clash of styles here. Maniphest was very vicious in his presence, very intense, very effective angles. I'm kind of a connoisseur of a good angle, and whereas Biscuit was doing like ha-ha punchlines, Maniphest was just doing like screw face punchlines.
They ain't clapping when I'm rapping, only reaction is oh shit.
And another interesting thing about this battle, if you watch, look out for this, is that there's Vegas being kind of filming a bootleg. I guess we just let him do that. Right behind Biscuit, I guess they came together, and he was up next to battle Maniphest. So there's, in between Maniphest battling Biscuit, he's also going back and forth with Vegas behind Biscuit's back, who's like talking shit.
You never should get in a tussle with someone that's better with witty rebuttals. I'm putting an end to this kid with no struggle, and Vegas is next, so that bitch is in trouble. Don't believe me, meet me after the show's done. My family roll up.
And not to the point it was like really disruptive, but it added a whole different entertaining element as you watch it again. Check that out. And incidentally, I think Maniphest's next battle was against Vegas. That was in Colorado, and that one didn't make the main league channel because Vegas like swung on him, started a brawl in there. But it's on another channel. You can find it, and they judged it after that. After Vegas swung in the middle of his round and they broke it up, they judged the battle, and everyone said, "Oh, Maniphest won because he made Vegas angry and Vegas hit." Like, okay, great. They used to judge everything back then.
If he put his reckless words and worthless records in the world, he'd be in the Guinness Book of World Records for worst records in the world.
Whiter than the actor from the movie Powder, Rolling in Flour.
Look, you are whiter than crack that is primo. You are whiter than the actor from the movie Powder, Rolling in Flour after an hour of chemo.
Maniphest very effectively attacked the Christian rap sort of angle and held up Mr. Biscuit's CD, which was this nice, pressed up CD that Biscuit had made. It is Bridge B. That's his Christian rapper name.
Biscuit is Bridge B, a Catholic rapper, heaven's patriot. Woo!
After Maniphest pulls out Biscuit's CD, Biscuit then pulls out Maniphest DestNE's CD.
Let me paint a picture of the type of kid I'm facing. He made a CD too, called Trials and Tribulations. Yo!
It's this like cheap burnt CDR. That about wrapped it up, I think, for Maniphest in that one.
This album is a classic, but it's really sad. Track 1 is called I Can't Afford My Graphics.
Definitely a triumph of just really consistent punchlines and payoffs, though, over more angles that took a little longer to pay off. Maniphest, though, real strong. Both these guys were up for a no-coast title match, and if they ever took us up on it, they'd probably get it. So, number 3, Diggy Splash versus.
Hey, what's up? It's Heir Jordan and the King's Offspring. Somebody pay for that pizza. Yeah! Absolutely.
Diggy Splash versus Heir Jordan from Valentine's Day Massacre 2, 2012, in, once again, the Berlin Theater. And this one's brought to you by, in honor of Diggy Splash, I guess, brought to you by Arkansas Lightning Moonshine. This is just terrible. Don't drink it. Going into this, I had heard some Christian rapper from Grindtime, Florida wants to battle Diggy Splash because he's a Jesus impersonator. Like, okay, holler at us. We'll give anyone a chance.
Saying that you're Jesus, well, homie, that's ether. We shoot out your legs. Ironically, we blasphemers.
And this event was our introduction to King's Offspring. They technically had come before Jordan and Isaac. I think both battled at Midwest Crisis. I think we all really took notice of the both of them after Valentine's Day Massacre 2. When I say that both, there are two other people in King's Offspring. So SPO and Scuba, don't think I'm forgetting you. SPO beat Bone Man by talking about vegetables. This was Jordan's first great battle. He's now an MVP in Grindtime, Florida, I feel like, so awesome. And it's also Diggy's most polished performance, and probably his only polished performance. Not one dull moment, as Surgeon General would say. So you should just watch Air Jordan versus Diggy Splash. I'll wait. But Diggy Splash coming in with the, like...
You look like you're from a commercial for some Ovaltine. I bet when you drink it, you say, golly gee. This shit is so rich and chocolatey. And your mom like, don't tell him it's filled with vitamins.
Air Jordan looks like he belongs in a commercial for Ovaltine. I mean... Where did he get that? Where did he get it? Of course, he does. Not even like there was a particular kid in an Ovaltine commercial that everyone remembered. It just seemed like obviously Air Jordan is a kid that would be in an Ovaltine commercial. No, I don't know how you come up with punchlines like that. If you figure it out, let me know. But and then after the battle, everyone was like, I think Diggy Splash rhymed Norwegian with chocolatey. A lot of really epically hilarious stretched rhymes on Diggy's side.
You should give up rap and try yodeling. I'm too pretty for rap. I should be modeling.
Another notable thing there, Diggy's second round has a reaction after every bar. He doesn't, I'm not saying like set up punchline. Every single, literally, bar has crowd reaction in that. I don't know if I've ever seen anyone else do that. Also, really interesting, Air Jordan does a round in 3/4 time.
I'm a teach now, I'm a preach now, so this beat down's how I minister. I'm gonna make my mark on history. That's a different time signature. Let's go.
It came off, it wasn't an unnatural round even. It was a very good, funny round too. And Air Jordan ended up taking that one, very close decision. But I agree with it at the time and watching the footage because, even though Diggy's like as funny as funny can be, Air Jordan was also very funny. On top of being very funny, Air Jordan rapped a lot better. That's what makes this such a great battle, and really the breakout performance for both of them, I guess. And that was Air Jordan versus Diggy Splash.
I'm the shit the fucking Mayans predicted. Bitch tits.
All right. Number 2. Deadbeat versus XQZ. The rematch. This is brought to you by Remy Martin 1738. Thank you very much, Static, for this bottle here. The title rematch, as a matter of fact. So this was in No Coast vs. the World way back in 2010 in Stankowski Field on the Mizzou campus. This was our second title match, and it was a rematch of the first title match. We actually did that. But, it was what everyone wanted to see. The first one was highly disputed for, whatever reason. But, I'm really glad we did it because it was an amazing match. Watching it today, it still seems modern. It wouldn't sound outdated at all, and it's 4 years old. That's really impressive. That's really rare. At the time, I thought it sounded really futuristic. I think it raised the bar of it being a lyrical no-coast battler. Props to both of them for putting that on. They were two very good writers. They both had something to prove. They both had really nice schemes, really creative angles. Gonna bring up things maybe I think are worth explaining. Deadbeat says, your sister's a whore. Just ask Alex Trebek.
Your sister's a whore, right? Just ask Alex Trebek. Google Lindsay Enid plus slut plus Jeopardy to find out what I meant.
What? You might think, unless you actually did, if you Googled Lindsay Enid slut Jeopardy, you'd find an article by, I think, Lindsay herself, giving an account of appearing on Jeopardy, which she did, and I guess Alex Trebek making some sort of sexist comment. They spoke out there, but deadbeat turned that around and used it as an angle. And the brilliance of being able to say your sister's a whore, just ask Alex Trebek. That's I don't know anything I can compare that to. So good job, Spencer, on that one. XQZ, my favorite stuff from him on that was the impressions he did of deadbeat, the weird rhymes that deadbeat was doing on Twitter at that time.
Rapping on Twitter makes your boring stories more pathetic. No one cares about relevant rhymes. They don't want to hear some dwarf report their breakfast. Like, here's him. Here's him. I woke up at 8:30, ate a pancake, a bowl of bran flakes, opened the newspaper's last page, a story about income tax rates. Now I'm off to go masturbate to Hollow Ham versus Pat Stay. I'm always tempted to retweet with a hashtag gay.
And he said, I'll leave you stiffer than Bernie Mac with a spliff in a purple sack.
You were tolerable back when you would do all your generic shit. But every battle since then, it's been like he's trying to experiment. Like, I'll leave you stiffer than Bernie Mac with a spliff in a purple sack. Because I'm slicker than turtle wax, quicker than TurboTax. I take some brews and some gin, hallucinogens, the room's gonna spin. Fire paintballs at a blank wall. Watch the movie begin.
Watch the movie begin. It was dead on in my 2-on-2, me and Monter versus XQZ and Heebs. When I do my XQZ impression, I'm actually, though I didn't explain this, doing an impression of XQZ's impression of deadbeat.
You think you can rap like him, Pompey?
Shit, probably. Yo.
I'm getting with chickens and sipping on Zinfandel. Sending ignorant infidels up the river to Rivendell. You better wishing a wishing well, because I'm sick of the sickle cell Cicada Citadel hidden like Splinter Cell.
I don't think anyone actually understood what I was saying. The point was just to be talking fast and mumbling. Tantrum battled XQZ. He very effectively pointed out that XQZ's impersonations have been all of his most memorable stuff, and then argued that was because he had no personality himself. So that's another little connection. That's the sort of insight that I bring into this sort of critical review. Deadbeat chose not to do any Jewish jokes in that battle. So this is why you can see him say at the end, 0 Jewish jokes. And that's after, in the first title match, him using almost entirely Jewish jokes. Instead, what we saw was some really nice short jokes from XQZ to deadbeat, lift you off your feet, restaurant chair, all that. And some really innovative nose jokes from deadbeat. I'll let you watch it, but like the nose jokes are unparalleled until we get to like maybe XQZ versus Diggy Splash. Mirror match in a lot of ways, but deadbeat came off a lot smoother. XQZ maybe had some angles that were harder hitting, whereas deadbeats were more just funny. Also, XQZ had a huge crowd advantage, I think, because his entire Jewish frat house was at the event, standing right in that little circle. You could say that might have swayed the judge's decision a little bit.
You against a frat boy, motherfucker. This is how I handle all freshmen.
Judge's decision was 3-2, so that's a coin flip. And with that, the title went to our current champion, XQZ. And it has been defended once in 2 years. Number 1, Isaac Knox versus D-Mites.
I'm D-Mites. I grew up in Lyndhurst, Ohio, and I live in West Village, Manhattan. Let's not embarrass myself.
Let me just take in the aroma of this battle. Oh, by the way, the number 1 is brought to you by Colonel E.H. Taylor Small Batch. I want to thank Ice 9 for this bottle. It was another wedding present. Thank you very much. This was at grand finale, as in 2013, in the bridge, which was our first time there. I was really looking forward to this battle, and it paid off in every aspect. It was a little bit of a mirror match because they're both a little bit nerdy people. They're both funny. They're both lyrical. They're both very experienced and done all sorts of battles, multiple leagues. Yeah, they both took it very seriously. They also had great fun with it.
I had to pretend me and Isaac aren't actually friends. So here's where sportsmanship begins. I guess that's where it ends.
They both had a whole lot of material. I think they had more that they could have said than they did, but this, all in all, this ended up being almost 30 minutes. And one of our longest battles, but barely a dull moment in there. D-Mice is very original. And this guy, would come out hard talking with a bow tie, using all this sort of meta humor in grind time. Kind of an oddball. Battled Carter Deems back in the day. Check that one out. That's really cool. You can see them both kind of evolving. And he's been a favorite of mine for a while. He was coming off of some rambly performances, and he knew that this was going to be either his last battle, and it has been, or at least his last for quite a while. And so he really wanted to do well, and he got a good opponent, and he brought the bow tie back. He had stopped wearing it for a while, so he brought his bow tie back to symbolize that he was back on his grizzly. His performance against Isaac, I see it as a culmination of all the styles he sort of had gone through, and he comes with a lot of just surgical angles, deconstructing, what he's trying to build up as flaws in Isaac's, facade. Very lyrical, very poetic. He does things like reference Dante's Inferno and Thomas Aquinas and St. Augustine and all this, very gutsy angles to use. A very intricate.
Big words, right? It's a Dante reference. It's really good. Check it out. How Gary.
Does some self-reflection.
They say Marines run to the sound of guns in the fight. I say I went to war because I almost fucked up my life. They say Marines are clean cut. I agree, it's true. I am clean cut. I always use alcohol to treat my wounds.
I always use alcohol to treat my wounds. Now, I've never heard it before. It's just amazing. And that's just a throwaway bar, This was just quotables front to back. On both sides. Isaac talking about D-Mite's prior battles here and them not being very challenging.
Your shots were filtered. You're KO'd when you spar with a true beast. You do not see killers. And Franco is a sorry excuse. See, I said not see killers and Frank, so sorry. Let's go!
And one of Isaac's classic sarcastic slow it downs. At that line, you can see XQZ react to the line 3 separate times as it's being said, as he understands more of it. So if you check that out again, watch XQZ's face when he says that.
But still, this loser's only known for the tie, whether he wins or not.
Also, watch just Ryan Nixon's reactions the whole time. He looks like he's just having the best time of his entire life. It's really just not holding anything back. He's one of the best battle reactors of all time. And I'm just really lucky that I was, off scene behind the camera at my turntables during that battle, because you would have seen me crack up like just as hard as Ryan Nixon on that one. So I'm not picking on you, buddy.
And I see you came dressed the part again, looking like Mr. Rogers' hipster daughter.
Isaac saying D-Mite's looking like Mr. Rogers' hipster daughter. That was great. This is coming off the whole Tom Cruise mom shoes fiasco, As a matter of fact, I can add the insider detail, that D-Mites is wearing everything he's wearing. He got at a thrift shop in downtown Columbia that day. As a matter of fact, I drove him in from the St. Louis airport. And I said, you don't have anything with you. Don't you have some luggage? Do you need to go get your luggage? He's like, nah, just show me where the thrift shop is. So you're probably on point calling him Mr. Rogers' hipster daughter. That's really appropriate.
I'm sorry, but I think I'm clean. And I didn't show up in South Pole and Jinko jeans.
Oh, D-Mite's one of my favorite lines of the battle. He says,
I should address the internet sites and say I copy URL and be acting too hard. It's true. I do love to talk about Chrome whenever I open a new tab at the bar.
If you didn't catch that, that's a Google browser reference. There's a Battle Rap League URL where they talk about guns a lot, but also you would, in fact, open a new tab next to the URL bar and like copy a URL into it if you're in Chrome, which was the first browser to introduce, to popularize, I should say, tabbed browsing. If you get it, you get it, but you know. There's a person you can hear off camera reacting really hard to that line, and it's me, actually. I'll confess. Another good D-Mites line. My ego is like your faith. There's nothing to prove. That's really hard. I also say like real artists write about life, and that's something you've never experienced. All sorts of really great angles deconstructing Isaac's sort of Christian rap persona, which is one of the strongest angles you can use against him, even if it's been done a whole lot. If done well, very, very nice. What did Isaac do? I mean, all sorts of stuff. He had a great scheme about how when D-Mites was in the Marines, was a big part of his character, he was actually just like a journalist. So he said, you weren't a Marine, you were their cameraman or something like that, you know.
While men were fighting in wreckage, Mites was protected, trying to get the lighting perfected. See, you threw the towels to the few and proud because you're not Marine caliber. It's like when that special kid in school's allowed to be the team manager.
Very good stuff there. Also, probably his most effective thing was when he attacked D-Mites for doing really obscure, hard-to-get bars, which, of course, D-Mites had been continuing to do, not as badly as he's done in the past. Throughout this battle, he'd been doing that a bit, so that was really effective.
You remember when you battled CL using geophysical processes, then turned around to the crowd like, how do you not?
You'll just have to check it out. The whole, doing a whole scheme referencing the season 1 of the West Wing. Also, near the end, does a planned freestyle spaz. Try to beat D-Mites at his own game since he'd been doing a lot of half freestyle battles. It was really interesting the way that Isaac wove his sort of planned freestyle framework and worked in just details of the room around him in between. It was very effective. Watching it back, you can kind of tell if you're looking for it what his plan was and then what he varied on it. But it's to the crowd live, it just seemed like he was pulling rabbits out of his hat. Certainly, this is the only battle on my list from the post judging era. But I'll call this one for Isaac. I think most people agreed that Isaac won. The material was probably about equal in value, but Isaac kept the energy flowing throughout his whole thing. He kept the payoffs really regularly spaced. Nothing really was missed, I think, by an attentive live listener, whereas Mites was more wordy. He probably won like the debate. Who more concretely like convinced you that the other was a tacky person? Maybe D-Mites won the debate, but the battle definitely was won by Isaac keeping up the energy and keeping up the pressure. Obviously, I come in today on the much more wordy side. That's my list. Watch for Pompey versus 3PFD, which will be my next battle will be released. That's I felt like I did pretty well on that one, And also watch for the upcoming No Coast events. I'll have to put the date up here. A lot of exciting stuff planned for that one. I'm really bummed I'm not going to make it out. It's Mojo's on a Thursday, and XQZ is battling Spartacus. So now we're going to have 2 people named after Roman generals in the No Coast army. Good night.